All right, let's take a trip high into the hills of Meghalaya. There's a crop that grows there that's, well, it's woven into the very fabric of life, culture, and the local economy. But what's really fascinating is that behind this one little nut, there's a story of two completely different realities for the farmers growing it. So let's get right into it, this tale of Meghalaya's Rika nut. What we're talking about here is the areca palm. For generations, these trees have been so much more than just agriculture. They really represent a livelihood that's passed down through families, shaping the daily rhythms of countless communities all across the state. So, what exactly is an areca nut? You've probably heard it called betel nut. It's the seed from the areca palm, and it's often chewed with betel leaves and lime. It's a huge cultural staple, and people enjoy it fresh, dried, or even fermented. And make no mistake, this is not some minor crop. Meghalaya is actually the fifth largest producer of areca nuts in all of India. Now, while that might only be about 3.3% of the national total, for the farmers on the ground, well, this crop is pretty much their entire world. So how is it actually grown? This is where things get really, really interesting, because the whole process is just so deeply traditional. I mean, the farming is done almost entirely by hand. Just think about that for a second. There's no modern machinery, no chemical pesticides or insecticides, which kind of makes it organic by default, but also, there's no financial support like crop loans from banks. It's a system built completely on self-reliance. But that self-reliance comes with some major risks. These farmers are facing constant threats from things like yellow leaf disease and bud rot. The palms grow super tall so they can get damaged by wind, and a lot of the trees are simply getting old. And the result? It's a staggering loss of about 20% of their plants every single year. And now we get to the absolute heart of our story. Once that nut is harvested, a farmer's success depends almost entirely on one single thing: where they happen to live. And this creates a dramatic tale of two very different markets, all within the same small state. It's the most fundamental question for any farmer, right? After all that backbreaking manual labor and all that risk, what is their crop actually worth? The answer, as you're about to see, is shockingly different depending on your geography. Okay, let's break this down. On one side, you've got the Khasi and Jayantia hills. Over here, farmers harvest their ripe nuts and take them directly to weekly markets. They have agency. They control the sale of their own produce. But then you look at the Garo Hills, and it is a completely different world. Farmers there often have really urgent financial needs, and that forces them into these advanced contracts with traders, often selling their nuts before they've even fully matured. This slide, it just captures the desperation perfectly. This quote from the source report says it all. In the Garo Hills, farmers are often forced to sell immature, ungraded produce just to make ends meet. It's the very definition of a distress sale. Oh wow, look at this. This chart just lays out the economic impact so clearly. The benefit-cost ratio, which is, basically their profit margin. For farmers in the Khasi and Jaita Hills, it's a really healthy 58%. But now look over at the Garo Hills. It's a razor-thin 1.3%. I mean, just think about that. You've got farmers doing the exact same work, but one group is thriving while the other can barely break even. And it all comes down to the market structure where they live. That's just wild. So, beyond that initial sale, there's this whole other world of processing that can add a ton of value to the raw nut. Let's take a look at how that actually works. Okay, one of the most important traditional techniques, especially back in the Khasi and Jayantia Hills, is soaking. Farmers submerge these grated nuts in water-filled pits for 3 to 5 months. Now, this fermentation process, it enhances the flavor, but here's the crucial part. It acts as a storage method. This allows them to sell their produce during the off-season when prices might be a lot better. But hey, there are other value-added products too. Fresh nuts can be boiled to make what's called red supari for the pan masala industry. Lower-grade nuts get sun-dried into white supari. And, I love this part, even the fallen leaves are used. They're pressed into these eco-friendly plates, a product that has a growing international demand. Super resourceful. So, knowing this massive disparity exists, how can the system be fixed? Well, the report we've been drawing from lays out a pretty clear roadmap for a much more equitable future. The core idea is actually simple, but it's so powerful. Empower the farmer. The entire strategy revolves around strengthening the primary producer's position so that more of the money from that final product actually makes its way back into their pockets. Okay, so how do you actually do it? The blueprint is clear. First up, you bring farmers together into cooperatives so they can bargain collectively. Then, you provide access to credit to stop those desperate distress sales we saw in the Garo Hills. You also got to invest in local processing facilities, create transparent systems for market prices, and, enforce fair, standardized weights. Every single one of these steps is about one thing: giving power back to the farmer. Which leaves us with this final, really crucial question. The potential of Meghalaya's Arcanut, its green gold, is undeniable. But can empowering farmers through their own organizations finally unlock that potential for everyone, not just for those lucky enough to live in the right hills? It's something to think about.